Hi, everybody. I am back. Sorry for the delay. I had some issues with this laptop right here. Just did not want to boot up, and I finally had to take the battery out to get it to work again. But as you see, it is up and running. So we are at chapter 12 of Chocolate Fever, and it's the last chapter. And we left off with Henry met, I think his name was Sugarcane. And he told Henry that he had chocolate fever as a kid too. And now he owns one of the largest candy companies, people that make candy and then ship it out to the stores. And he told Henry that he had to take vanilla pills to get rid of the chocolate fever. So remember that? And that's where we left off. And this is the last chapter, the lesson learned, chapter 12. Hey, sleepyhead, said Mrs. Green, shaking Henry's shoulder ever so gently. Are you going to sleep forever? Henry stretched and yawned, smiling up at his mother. It was good to be back in his own bed, good to be where he belonged. It was Sunday in the Green household. In fact, it was Sunday all over the world. And in the dining room, all the Greens were having a late and lazy breakfast. If you can shake a leg just a little, Mrs. Green went on, I think we might manage to have some pancakes ready for you, dear, just the way you like them. Henry popped out of bed. He felt wonderful this morning, the way he always used to feel. He brushed his teeth and carefully paused on his way to the breakfast table, only to make a few ugly faces at himself in the mirror. With all those big brown spots gone, forever he hoped, he didn't look half bad, except when he crossed his eyes. There was a big greeting for Henry when he sat down at the table. Elizabeth, who was wearing her special blue dressing gown, even kissed him. And Mark stopped eating long enough to stick out his hand and ruffle Henry's hair. There's lots of news for you today, Henry, Daddy Green said as Henry was drinking his orange juice. The company that makes all those candy bars sent me a letter. They want to give you some kind of award for helping to foil that hijacking. Really, Dad? Said Elizabeth. That's super. Yes, indeed, Henry's father went on. It surely is. And Mac called just a few minutes ago. Wanted to know if we could go over to his house tomorrow and have dinner with his family. Could we, Dad? Asked Henry. Gosh, that's great. Right, son, we certainly can. And Nurse Molly Farthing is dropping by this afternoon just to say hello. And there's even more news. My goodness, said Mrs. Green on her way to the table with Henry's pancakes. Everything seems to happen at once to our Henry. Dr. Fargo wants to see you after school on Monday. Do I have to? Said Henry. Yes, you have to, Daddy Green said. Okay, said Henry, although he didn't like it. He's a good doctor, dear, Henry's mother said, and if you like, I'll go with you. Now, here's your pancake, she said as she placed the steaming stack before Henry. And for a special treat, just this once, I have your favorite chocolate syrup. Henry's face lit up. His hand shot out and took hold of the syrup pitcher. But just as he was about to pour the sweet brown mixture over his pancakes, he changed his mind. You know what, Mom, he said, just this once, I think I'll skip it. Plain old maple syrup will do. The family stared at Henry, as well they might. It was the first time they had ever seen Henry turn away from anything that had to do with chocolate. His father's smile was as wide as a river. Enid, he said, I think our little one is growing up fast. Henry was into his pancakes now, and they were quickly disappearing. The syrup was good and mapley. The pancakes had a delicious wheat flavor, and washed down with cold milk it was extra good. But still, something was missing. Some taste, some kind of spark that would make it even better. There was a small can of cinnamon on the table, which Elizabeth sometimes used on her toast. Henry wondered how cinnamon would taste on what was left of his stack of pancakes. He reached out for the canister and sprinkled just a little bit of cinnamon on his plate. Then he tasted it. Henry thought, that's pretty good. In fact, it's very good. I wonder how cinnamon would be on cereal, like oatmeal maybe, or cream of wheat. And maybe cinnamon could be on other things, ice cream or french fries, or maybe even cinnamon milk. And then Henry had still another thought. Could you ever have too much cinnamon? Could a person overdo it? And was there such a thing as cinnamon fever? What do you think? And this is a picture of them all eating. Let's see, where is Henry? Let me see. Back it up. Ah, so there's Henry right there, thinking about cinnamon. So our dear Henry seems to get a bit obsessed with whatever he likes, doesn't he? So we'll see if maybe that lesson is really learned with Henry. Or what do you guys think? Maybe we don't find out. And actually, that was the end. The end. So what do you think? Do you think Henry is going to go crazy with the cinnamon? Or has he learned his lesson? All right, guys. So what did you think of Chocolate Fever? You guys let me know. And I told you that we would be picking another book after Chocolate Fever. And I do have 3 that I want to read the back of, and then I'll let you guys decide. And these were all books that I confiscated from my son from when he was in elementary school. Okay, the first one we have is called The Whipping Boy. And my son really liked this book when he was in elementary school. And the back says, Jimmy, the royal whipping boy, gets whacked every time the prince brat misbehaves, which is often. When the prince decides to escape his boring life at the castle and find an adventure, he takes Jimmy with him. Laughter never stops as Jimmy and the prince meet up with 2 robbers named Cutwater and Hold-Your-Nose Billy, a dancing bear named Petunia, and her young owner named Betsy, the hot potato man, and more sewer rats than you'll ever want to see. So, the premise, or what the story is about, is there's a prince who lives in a castle, and instead of whipping him, they whip the whipping boy. But I guess the prince gets tired of his life, and him and the whipping boy escape. And it did win an award for American Literature for Children. Okay, so that's The Whipping Boy, choice 1. Choice 2 is Stuart Little, and this is by the same writer of Charlotte's Web. And the back says, whether he's sliding down the sink drain or racing a sailboat in Central Park, every day is an adventure for Stuart Little. That's because Stuart is not your average mouse. You see, he was born in New York City to a family of humans. Being a mouse in a human's world has its ups and downs, but Stuart always seems to come out on top. And then it just says, be sure to read all the other books she's written, Charlotte's Web. So that will be choice 2, Stuart Little. And then our last choice is called The Great Hamster Massacre. What a title, huh? And the back says, Anna and her brother Tom have always wanted a pet. Finally, after their latest pestering campaign, their mother gives in and lets them choose a pair of hamsters from the local pet shop. But their happiness soon turns to horror when the hamsters are found mysteriously dead in their cage. Anna and Tom both launch a full-scale investigation to determine who or what is behind the hamster homicides. Can they solve the case of the Great Hamster Massacre? And it does have pictures. This will be choice 3. So, I think all 3 of them have pictures. The Whipping Boy, choice 1. And it does have pictures. Choice 2, Stuart Little, small pictures. And choice 3, The Great Hamster Massacre. Okay, so I will send a remind out, and I'll have you guys respond with choice 1 for The Whipping Boy, Choice 2 for Stuart Little. Choice 3 for The Great Hamster Massacre. See you guys later.